All right, it is now 6 p.m., Thursday, July the 24th of 2025. And we are here for our regular city council meeting. Meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channel. Search for the City of Bruceville-Eddy and click the subscribe button. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during the meeting. Okay, thank y'all for being here. Everybody, I'm glad to see a lot of people out here. I know it's a hot day out there, you know, but here, a while back here, we was going, it's raining all the time. Now it's like, oh, we need some rain to cool things off. But, you know, but that's nature. Mother Nature has her way of doing things, and we'll never win that situation. Never, no matter what. Okay, if y'all would please stand for prayer, please. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to praise you and to say thank you for the things that you do for us and the things that you show us in life, what we should be doing and how to do it. Lord God, I know that sometimes we feel that we are out here all by ourselves, but we're not, Lord. We know that you're all with us. We just got to face it and just keep going. Lord God, I pray for all of our first responders, our fire department, our police department, our ambulances, our military. I pray for all the citizens of Bruceville-Eddy. I pray for our city workers. I pray for our council meter, our city administrator. I just want to say thank you, Lord, for everybody. Everybody is loved by you. We know this, and we are supposed to love each other. Sometimes we let that oversight, gets kind of an oversight for us, but we do know you're there, Lord. We praise you, we worship you, and we just know that you're going to be here for us no matter what. God, we praise you, we praise you, we praise you. We ask for all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. If you will please stand, I would like for y'all to take a moment of silence. Pam Combs, our city secretary, is not with us here tonight. Her father passed away, and Mr. Cook has been a resident of this city, I think, since it was built. You know, he's been here a long, long time. Jamie's family and the Cook family, they made Bruceville-Eddy. So if we can just have just a few seconds of silent prayer. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. If everyone's ready, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, and one indivisible. You may all have a seat. Thank y'all. Okay. I want to thank y'all for all being here again. And in the back there, we have Miss Jamie from our water department. We have Laura, I can't think of her last name, I'm sorry. We have Laura from the courts. Acosta. Okay, Laura Acosta. From courts, she's filling in for Miss Pam when Pam's out. And we have Chief Dorsey. We have, don't see anybody from the water department? No? Oh, they're out working like they always do, okay? I mean, they're always working. And up here to my left, I have Councilman Wiggins and Councilman McGraughlin. This is McLaughlin. And she hasn't grown a beard yet, okay? We have Kent Manton, our city administrator. And to my right, we have Councilwoman McLaughlin, and we have Councilman Prater and Councilman Richardson. And I think that's all that's here at the time, okay? All right. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I flew, Chief, close your ears. I flew here from Austin and on a four-wheeler, okay. But anyway, I just want to say thank you all for being here. We love to see you all out there. All right. Do we have the memorial? There we go.
This is
That's
from last month.
last month. So we don't need last month's. No.
So the next one will be citizens.
The citizens, yeah,
Community announcements.
yeah. Community announcements, do we have any at this point?
Hello, Danielle McGruer, 215 Hungry Hill. So just a reminder, I know Ken's always gracious enough to put it up on the board for us, but we will be resuming our First Friday bingo night, so that'll be August 1st at 6:30 at the United Methodist Church. And I think that's all of our events, because we're no longer doing a third Saturday vendor fair. So come out and support us for bingo. It's a lot of fun. I'm not sure what the mocktail's gonna be yet. We're gonna decide that this weekend at our ladies group, and but it should be fun. Last year, we had a pool party theme for this bingo, so I think we're gonna probably do something similar.
All right. Do you have an announcement, ma'am?
Cherie McGruer, 915 Old Moody Road. I'm going to make this announcement on behalf of Bruceville Community Church. They are going to be doing a vendor fair on August 9th, and they're trying to raise funds for a playground for their church. So if you all need to do some local shopping, support local vendors, and support their church, and a playground, that would be great. So that's going to be August 9th.
Did you have a time on that, Cherie? Is that the event from 9 to noon? Or
Is
9
that
to
what
1?
it is, 9
I
to
think it
noon? Danny has it on her Facebook.
All right, good. Okay, and I have an announcement on, Pam Combs, okay, 9 to 2. Pam Combs said in Vera of flowers or anything, if anybody sends flowers and stuff, that they would like the donations just to be made to the Methodist Church here in Bruceville-Eddy. Okay, so just want to let y'all know that, instead of flowers.
Thank you, ladies. Mayor, council, I had a couple more announcements for you here. Just keep everybody aware of some of our upcoming dates for the tax rate and the budget hearings. So we will have a full budget workshop and special call meeting on August the 4th. That's going to kick off at 2 p.m. The reasoning behind that is just because we need to get into some more of the details on the budget, and it exhausts everybody pretty quickly. So doing that late in the evening is a little bit tricky, so moving that up in the day. The trash roll-off collection date for August 9th is scheduled. That's weather depending. Of course, if you're a Bruceville-Eddy resident or if you're a water customer, you can come in and apply for a permit for that. It's $10 for folks outside the city limits. It's no cost for anybody inside the city limits. And then we've got a budget and tax rate hearing adoption meeting that's going to be scheduled for the evening of August the 18th at 6 p.m. And then lastly, your regular city council meeting is scheduled for August the 28th. And that is all I have this month.
All right. And anybody else have any announcements that they'd like to talk about? Anything church or thing? Okay. All right. Citizens presentation. The city council welcomes public comments at this point on items not specifically listed on the agenda. Speakers must sign up before the meeting begins. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The council cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until a future meeting. And we have two. Gabriel Valdez, is that right? Okay, if you would like to come up. And state your name and then just tell us what your concern.
As you stated, my name's Gabriel Valdez. I reside at 702 West 3rd here in Eddy. I was wanting to discuss, first of all, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be able to speak in this open forum. Appreciate that for such a small community to be able to address things. It really is appreciated. With the current rains that have been occurring here in Texas, and the floodings and stuff like that, I wanted to address some concerns that I have in regards to the ditches on 107. So I reside, like I said, on 107, and last year we had a lot of rains that caused a lot of flooding, and I think to a neighbor here that's actually had a lot of issues with his house. I wanted to ask some questions. What's the depth of the ditches supposed to be? What was the original design and volume of water that's supposed to be flowing down the ditches along 107 when it was designed through the civil engineers? And then when's the last time that those ditches have been maintained or cleaned? And then the other thing was, like I said, it caused a lot of damage last year to my neighbor's house. I have 3 acres that go right behind all those houses, and a lot of that water just comes off. And, I mean, that's really it. I just really wanted to address that and see if we had any resolution as to what's going on with those ditches. It's just this poor drainage that we have. I know through years of accumulation of just soil just coming through, you know, I just don't know when's the last time it's actually been maintained or anything.
All right, we can't answer any of
No,
your
I
questions,
understand.
but what I'm gonna suggest, if you'd like to make an appointment or come up here to City Hall and talk, and ask to speak to Kent Minton, our city
Okay.
administrator, and then he could answer some of those questions for you, sir.
Yeah, my understanding, some things were brought up on the last time that my neighbor here was actually up here talking, but I'll allow him to discuss it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Uh-huh. Okay, our next speaker is going to be Mike Littleton.
Yes, Mike Litton at 712 West 3rd. Yeah, I mean, he kind of said it there. That I am the neighbor whose house flooded. I think there was a few of us along the road there that actually had floodwaters get in our house last year, not this year. So this year, I don't think we had the volume of rain in the short amount of time like we did during several storms last year, which is a huge factor. Now, what I do want to kind of share just as an update, and Kent, I appreciate you taking, he's answered several questions for me throughout the year. But one of the things that we did last year, is Kent let me know that there was a plan. We were kind of aware of that there was some drainage issues, and there was a plan to replace some culverts and redig bar ditches, things like that, to try to avoid the spilling over. Because ultimately what's happening along there is there's such a high volume of water coming through there, and it's outside of maintenance, and so it overwhelms and just comes through like a tidal wave when there's enough rain. And while my property and most of the houses around us, while our property flooded several times, it only got in our house once, and that time it got in several people's houses. So at the time when I spoke with Kent last year, there was a plan in place, and I think what you had said was we were just kind of waiting on some better weather to get that taken care of. In the meantime, what I did is I tracked down Gabriel, who again, he owns that land behind us. And what I asked him is there's a berm back there that was actually probably created because that berm at the back of my property is probably there because the land back there at one point was probably crops and had been tilled up and pushed those berms to the side like they do. Well, that berm, in conjunction with my neighbor who had put up a concrete wall to prevent their house from flooding, turned my house into a lake, into my property into a lake. And so when it rains like that, there's nowhere for it to go. So I reached out to Gabriel. I'm sorry, I'll make this quicker. I reached out to Gabriel to say, hey, can I cut some of this berm down so that when that happens, this water has someplace to go? And very neighborly, he said, yeah, absolutely, cut that down. So we just went out there and dug it down by hand. So this year we did not see the accumulation of water, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. A, I did that, and B, I don't think we had that amount of rain that came in and overwhelmed everything. But to the best of my knowledge, we haven't corrected the issue yet. And so you can imagine it cost me $20,000 to put my house back together last year. And there's literally nothing I can do to prevent it from happening except taking matters into my own hands, which is ridiculous. That's what we've done because I cut that berm down. But now what happens when someone just takes matters into their own hands like that is the wrong solution gets done. It protects them, just like my neighbor did 20 years ago, protects them, and you just pass the buck because the water has to have someplace to go. So this year, Gabriel reached out. We talked on a regular basis, and he's basically saying at this point, he's getting a lot more water because I cut that berm down. He's like, man, we need to close that back up. And of course, he and I are not in a dispute about that. It's one of the reasons that we're here to kind of come to a solution. But I'm fearful that if we cover that, if I fill that berm back in, I will just have rebuilt the dam in my little lake. And then my house will flood again, for which there's nothing I can do about. It just cost me another $20,000. So really what we're getting at is, again, I know you can't answer questions, but we do want to know, is that plan in place to upgrade and update and maintain our bar ditches so that the water is not such an issue? Because I will tell you it is very, very uncomfortable to sit through a storm in my house right now because there's just nothing you can do. Last year when it happened, I got up in the morning and I put my feet down into water. So it's a bad deal. Nobody wants to deal with that. And of course, everybody has floods at the forefront of their mind right now. And so I don't want to downplay any of that and everything else that's going on. I'm so grateful that it was just possessions that got damaged, and that's fine. But it is the city's responsibility, as I understand it, to maintain those bar ditches. And so we need a little urgency on it and a recommendation for what we should do, because again, ultimately, I just passed the buck. So that's all. So if we get some answers to that eventually, it'd be great.
All right, well, as I said, we can't say anything, but we can.
Address. What was your address again?
712 West 3rd.
712 West Third.
I don't have anything to directly address that, but I'll do a question, ma'am.
Because I'm at 720, so I know where you
Yeah.
live. Yeah. But anyway, as I said, get a hold with Kent. And
Sure.
now, if you would like for the council to respond to things that you're asking and, or in questions like that, you could put this on the agenda for like next month.
Okay,
When we have an agenda, you can put it on the agenda, and then we can address him in person.
perfect.
You know, if Kent can't take care of it before then for
Okay,
you.
sounds good.
Okay?
And Kent has been very responsive every time we've reached out, so I appreciate that, Kent.
Yes,
right.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Mhm.
Can I go and request that we go and make a note to add that to the agenda?
Just to go ahead and add it?
Yeah, I mean, I would like an update myself.
All right, we're gonna add that to our agenda to get an update, okay?
Next month.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Richardson. Okay, and that's all of our city nobody else has anything they would like to say or anything? That does it? All right, we got that. All right, Encore rate increase. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to approve resolution R 7-24-2025-2 denying the proposed change in rates changed by Encore Electric Delivery Company LLC. Kent, you got something on this?
Yes, Mayor, Council, citizens of Bruceville-Eddy, this is a little bit of a weird resolution that's coming before council tonight. But essentially, Encore has submitted a request to increase their rates for residential users, commercial users, streetlights to the PUC on June the 26th. So before you tonight is their request to the city of Bruceville-Eddy as a jurisdiction with, or a city with original jurisdiction over those rates to actually deny their increase so that they can maintain the current rates here in Bruceville-Eddy while they go and appeal to the PUC to increase these rates. So everybody clear on that one? The resolution is for a denial of the rate increase. Okay. So overall, Encore is proposing a rate increase of about 13% over their present revenues. This increase would be about 12.3% to residential rates, which is about $8 per month, and a 51% increase to street lighting. I am not here as a member of Encore. I can't justify any of their reasons. You'd have to reach out to Encore specifically to get that information. Just as all of council should be aware that no action taken tonight would result in an automatic approval of these rates. So you definitely want to take some sort of action tonight. So my recommendation is to approve the denial on the rate increase for Encore.
Does anybody have a motion? Okay, Mr. Wiggins.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R 7-24-2025-2, where it's denying the rate increase for Encore.
I'll second. I have a second?
I will.
Okay, Mr. Prater? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, thank you. All right. All right, number 5, presentation of the proposed 2025-2026 budget and tax rate. Council to discuss, consider, and consider the proposed 2025-2026 budget and tax rate. City Administrator Kent Menton will provide an overview of the proposed 2025-2026 budget and tax rate and solicit initial feedback and/or amendments prior to the council budget workshop. Kent?
Yes, Mayor, Council, I'm coming down here to the podium to make this a little bit more official. Just think it's a better idea to have the city administrator present this directly to council. So anyways, it is with great honor that I get to present our 4th budget together. A lot of work went into this, so I just want to thank all the budget committee members. That was several members of staff, Esther, Pam. We had a couple council members on that one, Mayor Owens. And so a lot of work went in. We had about 5 meetings in total. There was a lot of back and forth that collectively came together to create these goals and priorities that are outlined in the budget. So just as an overview, the first and foremost, this fully funds our current operations. Got to say that out in the open up front. So no changes, no cuts or anything like that to what we're currently doing. Second and foremost, I want to make sure that everybody was aware of what we are proposing this year. What I'm proposing this year is an increase to the property tax rate to the tone of 1 cent per $100 evaluation. So every taxing entity sets their own individual rates. The city of Bruceville-Eddy's would go up by 1 cent under this proposed budget, and that equates to about $25 a year on a $250,000 property. And on that note, we did see a 4% increase in the appraisals overall in McLennan County, just so you're aware. So this also funds significant improvements and maintenance to our water system. That's via a combination of grant funding and contributions from the fund balance. So we'd be pulling from reserve funds to get some of our projects done. On this note, we've had a couple projects delayed this year or put off a little bit because of this sewer project. It's taken some general fund and your water fund because we weren't able to execute on everything just yet this fiscal year. This accounts for the continued construction of the newer sewer system at $1,000 that we would have to pull from reserves to cover that. But this is a conservative approach. It takes into several factors like certain entities not coming online until a certain portion of the year. So I think it properly balances what our expectations are versus what our expenditures will be. This also funds a continued investment in maintenance of our city streets, including a major renovation of a portion of Hungry Hill Road. So that project was expected to be close to $300,000. This is a full overhaul of a portion right there next to Helena. This would completely gut the base. For comparison, right now when we have an interlocal with McLennan County for a chip seal road, that project takes 4 days, maybe a week to get a street done. This project would take 4 months to get done. They're completely redoing that base so that it will stand up to current traffic conditions for over 20 years. It funds investment in our people, employee compensation and benefit changes. We continue to face challenges recruiting and retaining folks. We're not alone in that. A lot of our comparable cities are also in the same situation. I was talking to somebody who has family at the city of McGregor, and they're down, multiple positions. So we're not only competing with other cities for, public servants, we're also competing with private companies as well. And so this will fund some compensation changes to hopefully meet our metrics on that. So here's an overview. I wanted to briefly talk about our tax rate history. So right now we're at 46 cents per $100. And as you can see, this 47 cents that we're proposing is still within or still lower than that 13-year average of 49 cents. So we went all the way back to 2012 and you were averaging 49 cents. So this would still be lower than that. Here are some tax rate comparisons for some of our neighbors. Some of these are bigger ones like Temple and Waco, just putting those in there because they're obviously geographically important, but also we've got all of our surrounding neighbors as well. So not a whole lot of research on the proposed values. I think everybody's a little bit further behind us in this process. So I was only able to pull from the city of Temple currently what they're planning on doing next year, but hey, I live down in Temple. That's quite a big jump for the city of Temple there. But no, you can see here that on our comparable cities, we're one of the lowest. And this is for maintenance and operation only. A lot of other cities have interest in sinking that debt funding component that comes from property taxes. We do not have that here in the city of Bruceville-Eddy, so something to keep in mind. Okay, just going in a little bit more detail on the budget. So again, this invests in water system infrastructure and proactive maintenance. We're gonna have a vendor come and visit with y'all on our budget workshop on August the 4th. They're gonna talk about some steps we wanna take to address some deferred maintenance on our water tanks. It's gonna be expensive, but there's some stuff that's been long overdue that we probably need to start addressing. This past year, we focused on line upgrades. Next year, my focus is gonna be working on some proactive maintenance on those water systems. Other priorities just come up and shift around. But I think everybody on the budget committee was in agreement that we really need to make this one of our #1 priorities this next fiscal year. We need to get the quick connects. We need to figure out what backup generators we're gonna use and get those ordered. I think I already touched on the street repairs, the investments there. Of course, this is outside of the $1.6 million that's gonna be coming from the sewer system project to redo all the roads that have been torn up. This is outside of that. This also includes the purchase or lease of a new server here at City Hall. Our consulting IT company has recommended that it's time for replacement. We've got a proposal similar to what the city of Lorena is doing for a lease program for all of our equipment. I don't know if I'm fully on board with this one yet. I'm kind of okay with the idea of letting them be the guinea pig, but either way, we're gonna bring some options to council at a future council meeting so y'all can consider, you know, the cost of leasing versus just purchasing our equipment. Either way, the budget will cover what we're looking to do. Worst case scenario. It also includes money for a parking lot refresh here at City Hall, as well as the storage building that council talked about earlier in the year. We got some money set aside for that. This also, as we talked about earlier, investing in our people, this would include a increase in pay for public work positions across the board, in addition to the COLA that we're proposing. Increase also to the on-call pay for public works employees. We adjusted this a couple years ago, but we got some of the numbers wrong, error, oversight, and didn't quite adjust that where it needed to be. 4% COLA for employees with 1 year of service. We've done some research on this. We had a little bit of a gap in what we've seen in COLA over the last, I think it was 5 years. We did the data research on that one. And we, in order to keep things level, we should have been at 4.6% this year, but 4% I think is something we can certainly afford. And then one of the bigger changes you'll see is another TMRS plan change that would increase the funding ratio from 1.5 to 2, which would mean that the city is contributing more to our employees' retirement funds. Of course, it is a big cost to do that, but it's something that I think will make us stand out even further as an employer of choice here in southern McLennan County. This also adds an additional position here at City Hall to shoulder our increased workloads. We've tried shuffled, we've tried moving around positions. We haven't quite been able to optimize despite our best efforts. So we're recommending hiring another employee here. We've got more work, we've got more projects, we've got more folks calling in, and we want to be able to serve them well. A few more here for you. A lot of discussion earlier in the year about the cost of CDL training. It's expensive. We've looked at several different options. There are options out there, but it's quite expensive. So this money in the budget would be for CDL training for one employee, and we might want to look at, you know, some sort of agreement or clawback or something like that. Of course, that's a whole nother conversation. But when we're spending that much money, you know, comparative to our size, to invest into one employee to get CDL training, which is something that we need. But anyways, that's something for consideration. Purchase of land for new water well location, replacement vehicles for the public works and police departments. We've done a lot of work on this the last couple of years. Y'all all aware of that, right? And we appreciate your support in that. We've got about one more vehicle in the public works department that's from, I think it's 2011. It's got over 200,000 miles. That one's probably past time to cycle out. And then the PD is in a similar situation. They just put on so many miles on there, so cycling one out. We'd be looking probably for a used vehicle for PD. Chief Dorsey's had plenty of success ordering that from our partner up in the Chicago area, so that's kind of our mindset at this point. But again, we'll bring you some quotes and options at future council meetings. And then this also, you'll see some big numbers in the revenues and the expenditures within the budget. That is really just funding for our CDBG grant that we've already been awarded. We're expecting to expend some monies this fiscal year, and some of that will also come into play next fiscal year. Right now, BlackRock Construction is in that construction zone. They're in between 3rd and 4th Street in the alleyway. So once they're finished with that section, then we'll be able to go out to bid. We'll be able to get the contractor squared away to go in and replace that galvanized line. So that's $500,000 grant we have been awarded, we have accounted for. And then secondly, you have a GLO RCP grant for the comprehensive plan, the zoning review, subdivision ordinance. That one has not been awarded yet, but it's $300,000. So it'd be $300,000 in and then $300,000 out to our consultants to facilitate the entire process of updating those plans for you, should we be awarded. And then here's what our timeline looks like. We are going above the voter approval tax rate, by about 1 cent. And so with that, our deadlines to approve this budget have been bumped up a little bit more. So I just want to go over those with you. Tonight, we're just going over this presentation, initial public comments, initial comments from the entire count rate of 47 cents. You're not locking that in yet. And then at the August 4th meeting, again, that's where we'll get into a lot of the more detail and discuss all the ins and outs of the budget. And then here on the 18th is when we would need to approve the tax rate and budget and have the concerns from you.
Anybody have any questions? No, don't think so, Ken? Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Pers-
gonna
Oh,
talk about the budget.
Sure.
Right now, we're
Yep.
gonna talk about it. Yep, but, this, you know, going over some of the numbers that, we have is never, and the council, when you see, look at the budget and you see transfers in under the revenue side, what that means is the expenditures exceeded the revenues. So in order to make the budget balance, we had to transfer money in. And where do we get it from? It comes from our reserve account, savings account, I'll say, you know. So when we have to do that, year after year after year, we're gonna end up depleting our reserve funds. Now, on the city side, we have, you know, quite a bit of reserve right now, but on the water side, we don't have as much as I think we should have. But I think given down the road that the things that we wanna do, like we wanna get the water well, we have money in the budget to purchase the land, but if y'all remember back, when they give us an estimate for that well, it was gonna be about $6 million, and that was probably a year ago, I'm gonna say. So that's probably gonna be a lot more. So we need to think about that. And then another thing that we need to think about is the sewer. The sewer is unknown. The water and the city, we can go back in history and see what we've done and pretty well figure out. But the sewer, no, we don't have nothing, because we don't know. We're not sure. So I think we need to make some cuts, you know, throughout our government even this year. They're making cuts everywhere. But we hadn't made no cuts here. We're adding. And one of the things I'll say this, that, and I wish we could give our employees everything, you know. And we already have the TMRS, they have that, but we don't have the 2-to-1. That's correct, we don't. But that alone is gonna cost an additional about $42,000. And once we give that, we can take it back. We're not locked into that forever. We can always adjust that, obviously, because we only have so much money, so that could change. So we might not be able to afford it down the road. But once you give something like that, then it's gonna be hard to take that back from the employees. And, you know, I know during the budget committee meeting, we talked about a 3% raise versus a 4%. Now, the 3% raise versus the 4% is quite of a amount there. Over $26,000. 3% versus 4%. And again, you know, we gotta protect our funds. If we keep just using from our reserves, it's gonna get a point that we're not gonna have any. And I think Moody is in that shape right now, from what I've seen in the paper. They're having a water issue over there, and they're gonna have to raise their water rates about $16 is what it showed. Because they don't have the money. Now, some people think that, well, we've got money in reserves, what we got it for? Let's use it. Well, if you keep doing that attitude, then we're not gonna have no money. We're gonna be in bad shape. I would like to see us defer the TMRS until next year, where we have a better understanding of what the sewer is actually gonna cost versus the revenues in. We're already starting out with 80, we're saying that we're gonna need to borrow $80,000 from a reserve fund, that we're gonna be short in sewer. And that's just an estimate. And, you know, if you look at our figures on our current budget right now, you know, it's like 1.3 is what we show to transfer in the water fund. That's what it needed to make the budget balance. And that was coming from our reserve fund, okay? We've got 1.6. If that holds out, and we have to take 1.3, I don't leave much in there, folks. And then plus what we're already projected to transfer in for this year, the 25-26 budget, and the same way in the city, except the city has more money in reserves, you know. We've got about 3.2 in there in reserve, unrestricted. When I say reserve, I mean unrestricted money, is that we can use. And there's places we can cut, and, you know, I don't like cutting things. I mean, things that we need, you know, we need equipment, good equipment for employees to have, to work with, where it doesn't break down. You know, where it's a vehicle, you know, we don't need, vehicles getting old, we need to replace it. And, you know, we're gonna move the other one out that we're gonna replace. And what I mean by moving it out, we'll sell it in auction. So we will recoup some money for that. Or any other equipment. I know we've recently purchased a lawnmower. Well, them things, as much as we use them, they wear out pretty fast, you know. But we take good care of them. But anyway, I would like to see the council take in consideration about maybe not going forward with the TMRS, because that's $42,000 we can slice from the budget right there. And let's wait till, and maybe even consider a 3% versus 4%. You know, like I said, that's over 20, whatever I said there, 26. I've got so many numbers in my head, over 26,000 right there. So, you know, I'd like for the council to really take that in consideration and think about it. And I know we want to give our employees as much as we can, and I understand that. And maybe y'all can find other things where y'all can see that maybe we can cut here, we can cut this. You know, y'all can look at it just like I have. But anyway, I just think we need to be extremely cautious with our reserve funds, especially because of the sewer is unknown. It's all unknown now, so we don't know, and that's very important. And all these council members up here, it's y'all's responsibility, our responsibility to look out for this money. Because if we end up down the road, and like on our Friendly Oaks well, okay, as y'all seen, we've spent over $200,000 on that well alone. And we're not through protecting it, but it was money that we needed to protect that well from going down. And there's over 40,000 that we voted on back in November to do to put air conditioning building around it, and we hadn't even done that yet. So that's something that needs to be done for extra protection for that well. Now we have two other wells, our West Ridge well and our Taubert well, that's not nearly as protected as the Friendly Oaks well. So we need to do some upgrading there to protect those wells from what we went through with the Friendly Oaks well. And that 200,000, folks, that was unaccounted for. We didn't budget that. I mean, you know, we put something in the budget, you know, what we think, okay, might for repairs, but nothing like that. And that could happen again. And we don't have that much money in this year's budget, not for, God, I hope nothing like that happens to any of the other wells, or where we're gonna get it from, our reserve fund. And thank God we got it. So with that said, I mean, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Come on, you're doing good,
Came
you're
on.
getting better.
Okay. Two things. One, it's my understanding that we have 100% in our reserve fund, and the recommended number is considerably less than that to have in our reserve funds. So we're well covered in our reserve funds if we take funds out. We're not going to deplete it this year by taking that out, taking money out of there. We're not even going to seriously bring it down to what the state recommends that we have in reserve funds. And I believe we should save for a rainy day, okay? But you don't want to save for a rainy day at the expense of what you need for the citizens of this city. So it's important that we kind of look at how much are we trying to save? Are we over-saving in a reserve fund at the expense of not getting what we need for the city? The other thing is, our city isn't competitive with anybody in trying to attract people to come to work for us. Okay, one of the reasons is salary. People come to the city here for law enforcement, they come here for our public works jobs and things like this. They're coming here to work for us, and then as soon as a job opens up where they pay more money, they're history, they're gone. You've got to be able to give somebody something to stay here. A 4% raise is a significant raise, but when you say that we're under the majority of cities in our area here as far as compensating our employees, then are they going to just jump and go to these other cities? Now we're still hiring. We spend more time hiring than we do just working with our employees. So I think that as we went through this budget, we seriously considered retention, paying our employees what they're worth, okay? And we're fortunate, we have people working for the city here that love this town. And they're working here not only because they're getting an income each month, but they're working here because this is their town. We need to reward them for that kind of commitment to our community. So that's my statement.
Okay, okay, I had mine, but then I'll go to, right now, as Mr. McGruer was saying, we're required to have 16%. That's what they require us not to get lower than that. We need to maintain at least 16%, okay, the ratio. And right now, we're at 186%. So it's gonna take a while to, if we're gonna help our employees, it's gonna take a while for us to even get anywhere. I mean, we're, you know, and I understand, we never know what's gonna happen. We could be hit tomorrow with the biggest tornado you ever seen in your life. Praise God, we never do, but we could be. But if you start thinking of what's gonna happen, whether it does or not, you would go crazy sitting around going, oh my God, we're gonna be hit by a tornado, I just know it, you know, oh, we're gonna be, that's gonna happen, oh, this is gonna, I mean, you can't sit around and wait. And our employees, we need our employees. If it wasn't for our employees, we wouldn't be able to fix these water leaks. We wouldn't be able to have people in our office and take care. Now, this is my opinion. I don't get a vote unless there's a tie. And, you know, but this is just my opinion, and just putting it out there. I believe in my employees. I fight for my employees every chance I get, and I think that they deserve everything we can give them. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, not asking questions or saying, okay, Mr. Richardson.
All right, kind of piggybacking on what Mr. McGruer said, like talking about employees and employee turnover. We just put money in the budget. A few months back, the city council put in our policy, you have to have a CDL within a year of hire. That cost for CDL either in CTC or MCC is $69.95, $7,000. So we want to pay our employees to the point we can retain them. We don't want to spend $7,000 of taxpayer money and have them go to the next town over because they pay $5 more an hour. And going back to kind of Mr. Wiggins' point about the friendly wells, looking over this list, this is a list where the first incident started in November 16th of 2022. This is 2.5 years of a list. So you break that down, that's about $80,000 a year. This is not a $200,000 bill that just manifested out of nowhere. I mean, and have we pulled from the city fund before?
Yeah.
At least in recent history?
Yes, the last couple of years, we have been pulling from reserves to accomplish our capital projects for
Gotcha.
the most part.
So, no, okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, you're right. The employees do make a big difference, and we are taking care of them. We're not just giving them a 4%, Mayor Owens. We're giving them, there's 6 of them, the water department employees. We're giving $1.50 an hour plus the 4%.
That's wonderful.
Yes, that's right. So we're not, they're just not getting, and we're getting them up to par, I'll say, with other cities around us. And I agree with that. We should do that. But now, as far as the 16 to 17%, you know what that is? That's like 2 months. That's what our auditor said. That 16 or 17% is of your expenses. And that's about 2 months is what that equates to. So boy, I tell you what, we get our fund way down there, but boy, we got 2 months worth. And something happens, you're gonna be in trouble, folks, I'm telling you. If you do that, I'll still have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I can
And-
raise my hand, can I?
Yes, sir. But also, on the Friendly Oaks, you're right, from November 22nd, November of 2022 to November 2023, we spent $151,880. From 2024 to 2025, we've spent right at $50,000 is what we've spent on that Friendly Oaks well so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I had one from the floor first, and then you, sir.
I'm Rick Edmiston. My question is, back in 2015 or so, we were at 49 cents on the tax rate. Why did it go down?
Yeah, so if you'll remember, the last couple of years, we've had some significant appraisal jumps for everybody's property. One of those years, I think, was 12% in the city of Bruceville-Eddy. And so it was my recommendation to council then to compress that tax rate, lower it a little bit to help provide some relief to our citizens. And council ultimately agreed with that, and we lowered it because we could afford it. We're funding operations. We're also, last couple of years, we've also put money into our reserve accounts on top of that. So right now, we are trying to accomplish quite a bit, and so that's why I'm bringing this recommendation to capture a little bit additional from property tax revenue.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you, sir?
Okay.
You'll be next.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so, and I acknowledge, Mr. Wiggins is probably one of the best stewards of our money here in the city here. I don't think I've ever seen anybody watch the money as much as he does, okay? I certainly didn't go into accounting for a good reason. And so, and I understand that 16%, according to Mr. Wiggins, is 2 months. 180% is 20 months, okay? Which means you've got 2 years in reserve for things coming up, okay? And if they recommend that you have 2 months, is 20 months, would that be reasonable to say that's kind of excessive in savings? You know, we're saving for a rainy day, and it's starting to sprinkle now, okay? So we need to take and relieve some of that money so we can do some good things for our employees, we can do some good things for our citizens, and make this town attractive to where we get revenue coming in. We do have future revenue increases. We can't count on that. That's counting your chickens before they hatch. But we've got businesses that are looking at us We've got businesses that are about to open. We've got new residents coming into town. All of that is revenue for the city. So we're gonna just build our reserves even bigger because we have more people coming in here? Or are we gonna start reaching out and trying to be competitive to bring quality people in to work for us? Like I said, we are fortunate to have the people working for the city that work for us, because if I had to pay them or pay someone to replace some of the employees that we've got in here, we wouldn't be able to afford that. We couldn't. So let's keep them encouraged to stay here and to like our city.
Yes, ma'am, you have a question?
So the chart that you had up earlier, it showed that,
That
So-
one,
no, the one about that showed what y'all want to do with the
4%?
the 1 cent tax increase. Yeah, no. No, keep going.
That one,
The
1%?
one that said parking lot refresh.
Okay.
So to me, are y'all talking about two different things? You're talking about the reserve, but then you're also talking about a 1 cent tax increase. So is a 1 cent tax increase going to be used for those things that are on that list? Or is it going to take some of our reserves plus a 1 cent tax increase?
Good question. So we don't have separate budgets for capital expenditures and operating expenses. Something
Okay.
we're working towards, but we don't have yet.
Okay.
So you'll see mixed in that budget, you'll see all of our maintenance and operations. You'll also see a lot of capital projects mixed in there. So while we thought it was important to continue with these projects and by pulling from reserves, right? We've got vehicle purchases on there. We've got the Hungry Hill overhaul proposal. We also thought it's a good idea to start the process of shoring up our revenue stream. And so that 1 cent would come in, and you could say, in essence, it helps fund a little bit of everything.
It would be, you're showing us here with this, all the many things that need done and why you're proposing the 1 cent. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I do have, one thing I want to say about this is the parking lot refresh and the City Hall storage building. I've been in Bruceville-Eddy for, I think, almost 20 years now. And I drive down a road every day that's the worst I've ever seen it. And to me, that road there's certain things that are more needed than a parking lot refresh. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know about your City Hall storage building or anything like that, but out of all these things here, it just seems like a parking lot refresh for City Hall, which doesn't get used that much, wouldn't be very high up on my list, because I drive down, I don't know, I encourage everyone to go down Horseshoe Bend. There's places on Horseshoe Bend where there's no road. It's just gravel. And it's really bad. And I know that Richard, because Richard sent some people out and they did the other side or you helped, thank you for that, the other side of Horseshoe Bend, but it's just terrible. And I already drive like a grandma because I'm a little bit older, but I just crawl through that area because I have a pretty new car and I don't want to mess it up. So I agree that the city workers need to have more money, that we need to retain people, and I think all of them do a wonderful job. And the only thing that gets me on this is that parking lot refresh. And even the storage building, I don't know what that costs, but I really do appreciate Mr. Wiggins, his conservative heart. And I think it's smart that we have a huge reserve. I think most cities probably aren't nearly as careful and conservative, and all of you guys have been very conservative and careful with the money, and I appreciate that.
Thank
So
you very much.
that's all I have to say.
Mr. Prater?
On the building for the city, we're keeping all of our records in a cargo container across the street. And we have an ordinance that says nobody else can have a cargo container And this one's getting full, so we're gonna have to, so we thought it'd be best, because the ladies have to go all the way across, whether it's rain or snow, whatever.
Can't keep it in this building?
No,
We
it's
don't have
too,
a place.
we don't have a place for it, but we're wanting to build one back behind here and, actually have it heated and air conditioned, you know.
That makes sense.
And it'll bring us up compliant also, you know, us telling people that they can't have a cargo container, and we got one right across the street. But, that's why we put that in there, because we're gonna need and we wanna build a big enough one that it'll hold for the future also. Yes, so that was the reason behind that. The parking lot refresh, I'm not, I grew up on gravel, it's fine. But, yeah, it'd be fine.
It would be nice, but it just doesn't seem like a high
Priority.
No, I can understand that, yes.
Councilman Richardson?
Just kind of expand on what Mr. Prater was saying about the records and just the sheer volume of records. A lot of that, and I would be lying if I could tell you off the top of my head what record is how long, but there's actually state law for this type of records. You have to retain them for 5 years back for this one, and that turns into a lot of records very quick. Yeah. So that's why there's not room here in this building to really store them.
Mr. Wiggins?
Okay, again, back on that, 2 months, I didn't come up with that. That was our auditor, CPAs that give that figure, 16 to 17%. And they said that
You
was,
need to address that here, sir, because I don't want an argument. Let's see.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right.
no, I'm talking.
Okay, I know, but there's, you turn around to him, and so you're asking him to respond to what you were saying.
No, I'm not
so-
asking them, none,
No,
I
sir.
didn't ask them a question.
Mr. Wiggins, seriously.
Okay, all right, so, anyway, I'll finish here. So that was through the, auditors that said 16 to 17%. I won't look at you because you might think I need a response.
Oh, that's right. I
So,
don't have-
anyway, there's 2 ways that we get money here. And I hope the council's listening. Taxes and water rates. That's where we get our money. And if we go down on these reserve funds too much, you're gonna see something increase. You just keep that in mind. If you see the water rates increase, it has to increase because we have to pay for something. And why we have to pay for it? Because maybe we ain't got enough money in reserve. Taxes and water rates, that's where we get our money, right now. Now, come next year, the sewer rates will be in there, and that might be an increase. Don't know about that, but we'll have, that's all unknown. Now, and for another thing, you can think about your reserve funds, depleting them. That reduces the amount of income that you get from your reserve funds. So we get interest rate from our reserve funds. And so that'll cut down on that too. So anyway, with that said, you know, I just think we need to be mindful of y'all's money. It's not the council's money, it's y'all's money. And so we need to be prudent with it and spend it wisely, is all I'm saying. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, you have a question? State your name, please, ma'am.
I'm Monique Moser-Sauer. It's difficult for all of us to look at that and not know the amount of money that each one of those things costs. Like, we don't know how much the parking lot refresh is, or the storage building, or if you could get a better price from somebody else. Maybe somebody in the community would like to give you something at a reduced rate. But the only number that we know is that to give the 4% increase to the employees, it's $46,000. Well, is that how much the parking lot costs? I don't know. I can't process, because I don't know what a new server is, and I don't know what paying an increase to the on-call pay for the public works employees. I don't understand that, because I don't have exact numbers.
Yes. Okay, Kent, do you have an answer for that?
Sure, I'll just say that tonight's scope was just meant to present the initial components, the overview of the budget. Council has been provided with the detailed budget proposal that is posted on our website. It's got every line item on there. Of course, some of the line items might be a little bit confusing. Happy to, address any questions that you want to send my way. The detailed budget workshop on August the 4th is when we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty on that. It will be posted on YouTube, just like our other meetings, but at that point, we'll have all the costs associated with the parking lot refresh. We'll have, quotes for some of our vehicle expenditures and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, Ms. Wiggins?
With all the numbers being thrown around, I'm a little confused. What is current in the fund right now for the general fund in your, whatever y'all call it, your savings account or whatever you call investment account?
For the total,
Reserve account, how much is in the general fund right now?
for unrestricted cash and the general fund, it's about $3.2 million.
Okay, and what is the water amount?
I think it's around 1.6.
Okay, so in this budget you're proposing, how much are you proposing to take out of the general fund, out of that 3.2, to make your budget balance?
To create the structurally balanced budget, I think it was $387,142.
Okay, and what about the water? What are you proposing to take out of it, out of the 1.6?
So that would be 46,492. Oof. Messed that one up, didn't I?
540,000?
546,000.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wiggins, you had your hand up?
As far as, Ms. Monique, as far as the figure on the parking lot refresh, it was $1,500 is what we put in the budget for it. Just to answer your question.
Anybody else? Oh, Mr. Prater? Sorry, guys, I'll get y'all. I'm sorry, I keep looking down this way.
I have one question. I put a question mark on it when I was reading all that. Microphone, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I have my head down. I put a question mark next to this because I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody can help me here. It's 10-10-6427 on the departmental expenditures. Social platform.
Social platform.
What is that?
Good question. That's what it's been called since I got here. Social platforms is a little bit of money that we have in each department, and it funds our monthly employee appreciation luncheon. We sit the staff down, we have a staff meeting, we give them a meal at no cost, and just appreciate the service to the community.
And we're asking, requested budget for that is $40,694.
No, sir.
Oh, is that not what it says right here?
It's-
Total operating?
It's about
We only pay them
$400
$500
per department, maybe a couple grand.
We'll cook sandwiches if we have to.
That's the total
Oh.
one for the, social thing, that's.
Oh, okay.
You go to page 2 of that, that's that whole.
Oh, I was looking for that.
Yeah,
too.
thanks for asking.
Yeah, because I was,
If
I
they're
want
paying
to get
that.
in on this social
Me
media.
too.
Okay, I see where I went wrong.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
We're
Okay,
really
thank you,
trying to
sir.
make Bruceville-Eddy a good
Yeah.
place to work. No,
Have
no,
some
sir.
good food.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or anything? Okay. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I did pass you, because you let the lady go first, okay?
Okay. Well, I just, wanted to put my 2 cents in. The concern that I have is a trend toward taking money out of reserve rather than trying to cut and find the money that way. And I am all for our employees getting a raise and getting better pay and us being competitive. I'm not saying we should not do that. I'm very for that. But the 4%, I think, is too much, like Mr. Wiggins. I think that's a little too much. I mean, we have to think about what we can do as a city with what we've got. Yeah, we've got a lot in reserve, But okay, next year, we give them all these raises, we give them all this stuff, we raise their bottom rate, we raise their top rate, and that's wonderful, and Lord bless them. I'd love to be able to do all that, but okay, how are we gonna pay for that the next year? Are we gonna take it out of reserves again? And the year after that, and the year after that? I mean, we can't depend on revenue, future revenue 100%. Now, I believe we will have businesses coming in here. We're gonna have rooftops. We've already got that moving, but that's gonna take time. And if we get into a habit, which a lot of cities do, they make that mistake of taking and taking and taking out of their reserves, then like Mr. Wiggins mentioned, you end up getting yourself in a bind down the road. And so, yes, I want to give people raises. I want to give the employees raises. Our workers, they deserve it. But I think maybe we can find some places to cut so we're not having to take so much. I understand we got to take out of reserves. I understand that to get it done initially. But we got to think about how we're going to tend to it once we do it. Are we going to just every year be taking money out? I just don't think that's wise for us to be doing right now. Too much of. I don't want to see that habit start.
Mr. Richardson?
So we keep saying we don't want to start a trend. We don't mind pulling from the reserve, but we don't want to do it. I just personally believe that, like, if we're going to find some place to cut, let's find some place to cut that's not the employees. Like the statement was made earlier, I believe in having good equipment. I believe in having good employees. It's that simple. I mean, you look at, I'm a police officer, let me speak from experience here. You hire a brand new recruit out of an academy, or later on in the agenda, we're going to talk about sponsoring a recruit through the academy. Let's just talk about the cost just based in that. You want to sponsor a recruit? It's 9 months. The academy's 6 months, 3 months FTO. You're looking 9 months of expenses. Or you hire a brand new recruit that's already certified, and Chief Dorsey can probably back me up on this. They really don't have a clue what's going on until they got a year or two experience on the street. I will speak from personal experience. I was lost the first year, and the second year is like, I think I know what's happening. So what we're doing by not keeping our salaries competitive is these guys are getting a year to experience, and let's use a personal example. One of the guys I worked with when I was here, he's now out Park Lake, making a lot more money. So, and we're just continually eating those training costs and losing that quality with that by not keeping our salaries competitive and attracting and retaining quality work.
Okay, here's my 2 cents again. I had my hand up after Mr. Richardson. Yes, we'll have to maybe reach in there and pull some reserves out. I don't think it would be a habit, because just because we pull out and help the employees, that don't mean our city's gonna shut down. Because if our city shuts down because we pulled some money out to help the employees, then we don't need employees. If your city shuts down, you don't need nobody. Just let it go back to dust where it is, and Waco can come in and take over, or Temple. You know, we'll just let them handle it. But right now, I don't see where it's gonna be a habit of taking money out for the employees out of reserve, because we're putting money back in it every year. It's not like we're gonna take out this year and there's no more money gonna go into reserve. You know, there's gonna be money put back into the reserve. You know, and as long as we can maintain, you know, good numbers, which we have good numbers, and yes, I will say Mr. Wiggins he is a money man. He looks at those finances consistently, but we also have a financial lady and a city administrator that also looks at that money. They also look at those finances, and they do, I mean, that's what we pay them money for. We pay them good money to go in there and look at that money, and to go in there and look at the budget, and go in there and to work the budget and figure out what we need to do. You know, so anyway, again, that's my 2 cents. Mr. Wiggins?
Again, that, yes, we pay our financial director and Mr. Matten to watch after our money, as other cities do, have the same thing. But as council members, we're elected to watch after the money that they're supposed to watch after. So if something comes up and we run out of money and we have to raise your taxes and raise your water rates to generate some money, then who are y'all gonna go after? Y'all gonna be coming after the council members and say, hey, what's going on here? Y'all supposed to be paying attention and watching that. And as far as the employees, I'll say this again, you know, we figured in $1.50 an hour plus raise, plus another 4% is what's asking for our employees in order to get them up to speed with other places that's comparable paid out. Well, we'll be comparable to them. I have no problem with that. I'm not saying let's don't do that, and so don't misunderstand me. All I'm saying is, are the $1.50 an hour? That's fine. We need to get them up to speed. I want to be clear about that. And then as far as the 4%, I'm saying let's give them a raise. I believe in a raise. But maybe just 3% this year, and it's all because of the unknown for next year. And you council members, I'm gonna tell you this, y'all got it in your packet right now. And y'all know how much money that y'all are facing to pay. You should know that. And we're gonna be talking about it in executive session. Where do you think that money's gonna come from? It's gonna come from our reserve fund is where it's gonna come from. And it's a lot of money, and y'all know that. So keep that in mind, you know. Again, you know, don't want to beat a dead horse. All I ask the council to do is consider the TMRS to let's put that off until next year, until we can see. That's all. But I mean, at the end of the day, whenever we vote on this, you're gonna have to account for your vote. And down the road, I'm telling the people and the people listening what's gonna happen if we do this, if we use up all of our reserve fund. Your taxes are gonna go up and your water rates will go up. I'm telling you that now. Thank you.
All right, we've kind of, can we just, I mean, we're not really gonna take
I'll
a
be very
motion on
quick.
this part of it. You'll be quick? Okay. This will be the last,
So
thing.
nowhere in this are we depleting our fund anywhere close to that 16%. I mean, I'm not missing something on this, right?
No.
So we're not wasting our whole fund, correct? That's it.
Okay, all right, so, there's no action to be taken on this one, we're just gonna, no motion needs to be done, on this, so we're gonna go to number 6, is that correct, Mr. Minton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, this one here that we're gonna be talking about, this is on our tax rate thing. So, approval of proposed tax rate. Council discuss, consider, and probably take action to approve the proposed ad valorem tax for the year of 2025, FY 2025-2026, at a rate of 0.47000 per $100. Asset variation on all taxable property within the corporate limits of the city of Bruceville-Eddy as of January the 1st of 2025. Kent?
Yes, ma'am. So the state law does require that a vote be taken and that each council member's vote be on record for this proposed tax rate. So again, that is 47 cents per $100 evaluation, and that would support the budget that you all will be continuing to discuss over the next couple weeks.
Okay, so do I have, so we need to take a, motion? Yeah, a motion and a vote. Okay, motion,
I'll
okay.
second it.
And you'll second it, Mr. Richardson? All right, now we're gonna take a vote. Mr. Wiggins, how do you vote?
Are we voting individually or just?
You can take roll call, or you can do your regular process.
Okay,
Yes,
all right, all in favor?
No.
Well, no, everybody was, I was gonna call everybody. Unanimous, thank you. I thought you wanted me to ask each individual. That's okay, that's what I thought I understood you to say. All right, okay, so that was approved, thank you, guys. Number 7, staff report. Council to discuss and consider staff report from the city administrator, chief of police, city attorney, consultant engineer, and department heads. Kent, you want to do yours? Or-
Yes, ma'am. So I'll go ahead and leave it up to any questions from any of our department heads first, and then I will give a brief presentation on the city administrator's report as requested by
All right.
council.
Does anybody have any questions for the police department or the water department?
Police? Oh, okay.
Okay, you do, Mr. Wiggins? Okay, Mr. Wiggins, chief? He's got a question for you.
Okay, Chief, I've been asked about the, and I want to get this on record where some people out there can hear that, you know, I'm asking about this, about the travel trailers at the end of Melissa Street. It looks like an RV park. Can you tell us what's being done about this ordinance violation?
Yes, sir. So the address is 238 Melissa. Is that the one you're speaking of?
Okay, at the end of the street down there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know the address.
Yes, sir. We have received several complaints regarding that property. I did go out there in May, initially to assess the property to see what violations were present. Notice of violations were issued to the property owner for some violations, and then citations were issued for the RVs being out there on the property as they are in violation of our city ordinance. And then some time was given to remedy the situation, and then we did go back out there again to assess the situation again, assess the property. However, we weren't given access back onto the property, but we did observe, you know, some of the same violations that were present from the first time, so additional citations were issued for the current RVs that are out there and that are being lived in, that are in violation of the ordinance, of our current ordinances, as well as some permit violations that are current on the property. Citation was issued for that. And then there was some concern for the waste with the RVs, how the removal of the waste and how waste is being, you know, handled. And so we actually initiated an inspection through OSSF, which is through McLean County, the on-site sewage facilities. So I requested them to come out and do an inspection of the property to make sure that there were no, you know, health and safety, you know, violations or any violations through McLean County as far as the sewage goes. And so they sent an inspector out. They were very responsive because I actually sent a request out, and they actually came out the very next day and inspected the property, and they reported back to us and said that there are no violations with the way the sewage is being disposed of, which is being pumped out, or they're having it pumped out through a company. They were able to provide proof and documentation of that. And so McLean County didn't have any violations that they could act on or enforcement that they could take. And I have documentation from McLean County of them coming out to inspect that and what their findings are. I have documentation from them, from their inspection. As far as the enforcement actions that we've taken through our court system, they're pending, and they're set. All of our like code enforcement or city ordinance violations, the judge has deferred all of those go to the city prosecutor, municipal prosecutor. And so the next prosecutor conference is set for August 14th. And so the property owner, I believe, will be set for August 14th for the violations he has received citations for. So I'm hoping that on that date, you know, he will be given some direction from the court on what, or direction on what he needs to do to get those violations that he's in, you know, every day he's in violation of those ordinances, how to get those remedied. And so if it continues, then we can certainly step up enforcement action, whether that be issuing citations daily, which we've done in the past, but just from experience creates a lot of work for not only us, but for the court and everybody else involved, and hasn't really gotten a lot of, you know, traction as far as enforcement or compliance. But we certainly have other remedies and other tools in our tool belt that we can seek out if we need to, as far as other ways to remedy the situation. We're just, you know, we started at the lowest and we're just working our way up the enforcement ladder, and so that's kind of where we're at.
One other thing, how many trailers are there?
There's 2 trailers that are being lived in, and I believe there's a total of 4 on the property.
Okay,
There's 4 on the property, but there's 2 that are being lived in currently.
okay.
So-
Okay, thank you, Chief,
have a
that's all
follow-up
I
to
have.
that.
Okay,
Did-
go ahead.
So earlier, did you say you were or were not allowed back on the property after the first time?
I was not.
You was not, okay, I just wasn't sure what.
Yeah, the first time I went out on the property, the second time I was met by the property owner at the gate that he put up. So I met him at the gate, which is on the man-made road that was kind of where it tees right there, and that's as far as I got. So I couldn't really see anything other than the trailers through the tree line, so.
Gotcha. And was there just the one round of citations, or have you gone back in the,
There's been
since
2 rounds.
2 rounds? Okay.
So,
That's-
Mr. Prick?
I got something that's not anything to do with what you're talking about now. But, as I was reading about this, says we got one violation for shipping cargo container. What is that? Where is that?
that was on Benton Street, because we received a complaint about it, but I've already told, because we sent out a notice of violation to the people that live there, but we're not taking any enforcement action on it.
But it's still under the total cases, right? I mean, we sent them paperwork on this,
Yes, sir.
and in good faith, can you do that? I mean, can you literally send this to this guy and say, hey, you can't have a cargo container, but every time you pull out of that driveway over there, you pass that one that we got over there?
Right, I mean, they're in violation of our ordinance.
Yeah, so are we.
Yes, sir. But, I mean, we're not, I mean, we have a cargo container, so, I mean, we're not writing a ticket or taking any enforcement action. We're just letting them know, because we received a complaint on it. And so, we're just
Nobody's
letting
complained on
them
that
know.
Huh?
Nobody's complained on this yet.
I'm complaining.
Oh.
I can't stand to tell somebody to do something that I ain't doing myself.
Yes,
So
sir.
this either needs to come off, the one, because it's on our sheet every week, every month, it's on here, cargo container, one violation.
So I've got to address this one. If it's an enacted ordinance, regardless of what the city itself is doing, we've got an obligation to carry out and enforce upon those ordinances. Now, if council wants to collectively suspend or change or modify that ordinance, that's a different discussion, but staff, we're gonna follow through with those issues. And of course, we've made you aware, we've made council aware that there's changes that need to occur for our cargo container. It's just, you know, it's a situation where we're taking some additional time to get that remedied.
I just wanted to make sure that we wasn't sending this guy a letter every month.
No, sir.
And, you know, the letters, we had a talk once before about the letters because they're really aggressive towards our citizens. I've had a lot of complaints about it, that they're scared to death when we send them a letter because they think they're gonna get their land taken from them.
I can understand that, that sentiment, but we do have to legally put some of the information in there. We have to let them know their rights, we have to let them know the next consequences, and that means after 10 days, the city has the right to step up that enforcement, which is a citation, and if the court chooses to do so, they could place that fine upwards of that maximum limit. So we have to let them know, and yes, that does come across sometimes as aggressive. But anybody who knows Chief Dorsey, who's spoken with us as staff, we're willing to work with people as long as we're seeing movement in the right direction. We give them plenty of grace.
And I mean, I'll speak for on, you know, the way I handle things is, you know, we'll send these letters out and, you know, there's more so than not, there'll be citizens that'll reach out to us and let us know they received it. And they'll work, you know, they'll say, hey, we're working on this. Can you give us more time? And they'll show progression and they'll show that they're taking care of the situation. And, you know, they may need extra time. You know, 10 days is not a lot of time, especially if it's someone that doesn't live here. You know, that's certainly understandable. And so we're more than happy to work with them, give them time. You know, we'll extend it. You know, we can extend it. I've done it 30, 60, 90 days, you know. And, you know, as long as they're working with us and communicating with us and showing progression and showing that they're working towards compliance, we'll do whatever we can to help them out. But it's the ones that aren't doing anything or aren't, you know, they're not taking any step towards compliance, they're not reaching out to us, and the violation's just there, and, you know, those are the ones we're taking enforcement action against. And, I mean, that's just the truth of the matter, so.
I was just asking because I see it on my report every month. I see it, and I just want to make sure this
Well, I
guy.
mean, there's been different ones as well, but, I mean, that's.
This one I
that's the
keep seeing
most
every,
recent one.
that I always see a 1 on there, but there's more that we make comply?
Well, I mean, not recently, but
Not
in
recently.
the past, there's been other ones that we've addressed.
Right. And we made them comply,
Yes, sir.
but we won't.
Would you like us to add
Yes,
ourselves
I
to
would-
the list?
I would like to
and
see
the
it on-
report?
I would like
mean,
to
we
see it
are
on the
technically in
agenda.
violation of that.
I'd like to put it on the agenda for
Cities
next
are
month.
immune from certain.
I don't care if they're immune or not.
Sure.
It's the right factor, that we don't go in there and tell somebody to do something that we're not willing to do ourselves. And we're gonna find them, and we're gonna send them a letter, and we're gonna scare the crap out of them to make them comply, and we're not making no effort to do it ourselves.
Do you want to put it on
That's,
the
I want it
agenda?
on the agenda to either take it off or make us comply.
Okay,
That's what I'd like to see.
Yes. I agree. Okay.
In good faith, I mean, that's like a slap in the face, because y'all sent me one, I left my tires out in the yard because I had a lot of tires. And I wanted to see if the code enforcement guy was gonna give me a letter, and he did. And that's when I come and had a talk with Mr. Manton and you, and the code enforcement guy. And I said, y'all are sending me a letter about my tires. And we had all those tires stacked up over there by the interstate. Nobody could see my tires from the interstate. But they could see y'all's tires from the interstate, and y'all sent me a threatening letter saying that you could take my land, you could do this, you could fine me all this, and we scare the crap out of everybody, and we're not willing to do what we're putting on paper to somebody else. So,
Just to
yes, I would
clarify,
like-
there's nothing in those letters that says anything about taking land. We don't have anything provisions in there. It just talks about the penalty per our ordinances. Just
Yeah,
thought I'd
and we
clarify that.
could commission to seize property or something. There's something like that in that letter, because I read it about the pool thing over there. But, yeah, I think it would be hard for me to write a ticket to somebody that, like if I'm riding around with my headlight out and I pull somebody over, I'm a police officer, and I pull somebody over and I write them a ticket for a headlight. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I'd like to see it on the agenda, and we either need to change it or do something to to where we comply to what we're making other people comply to. That's all I'm trying to
Okay,
say.
all right. Mr. Richardson, you was up, and then it's Joyce.
Yeah, I was just gonna
McGruer.
suggest what Mr. Prater was suggesting. Let's put it on the agenda for next month. We'll
Okay.
discuss possibly suspending that until at least the city's in compliance with the ordinance and
Okay,
readdress
all
it. That's it.
all right, Joyce?
Well, we are doing something about it. It's been budgeted in that we do something about it. We're gonna have a building built to do something about it and get the records put over here behind the building here. So it's not like we're not doing anything about it. We are.
Okay,
I'm gonna answer
go
to that. But,
Okay, you wanna
she
answer
brought
that?
up what I
Okay, yeah,
said.
that's true. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it is budgeted for that, and we approved that?
No.
No, we haven't approved it, so there's nothing
It has not.
going
been
towards
worked.
that building. We're working toward it, yes, but it's not been approved.
We're not doing anything.
Okay, all right, okay. We, Mr. McGruer, okay?
Can I make one more comment?
Yes, sir,
real
you
quick?
sure can.
I mean, I certainly don't have these dates in my head right now, but I know like Mr. Prater asked me if we took enforcement action on cargo containers before, and yes, we have in the past. But I'm 95% certain that, I mean, it's been a good amount of time ago, and it was prior to everything before all this came up about the city's cargo container. But, you know, I've been mindful of the fact that we have a cargo container. And so, and I agree with what Mr. Prater's saying, that, you know, it'd be hard to take enforcement action against a citizen for something the city's in violation of. I agree with you 100%. And I haven't taken enforcement action on anyone with a cargo container. I know I sent the letter out to this one residence about it because a complaint was forwarded to me about it. And so, you know, in good faith, since I received a complaint on it, I sent the letter out. But they reached out to me and they said that basically they're not using them and they don't have the money to move them or get rid of them. And so, you know, but, you know, in the back of my mind, I was like, you know, the city has a cargo container. And so I haven't done anything with it, and I wasn't planning on doing anything with it. And so I haven't enforced
it.
on any cargo containers. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yes, sir.
You know, if I receive a complaint, I may send notice out since we have an ordinance on it, but I haven't taken any enforcement action on those types of violations.
Thank you.
So,
Yes, ma'am. Oh, that was your.
That was gonna be my comment, that,
Yeah.
you know.
They haven't done
keeping
anything.
this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chief.
you're welcome.
All right, any other thing you wanted to, Mr. Wiggins?
MRB, our engineer, report. On the Old Bethany water main improvements, it states in there that it's scheduled to start very soon. Do we know when it may start?
So the project has commenced. It's currently underway contractually. However, they've hit some snags with materials and they're wrapping up on another project. So they're gonna swing over to that, hopefully, I think they said in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Now they are anticipating that project will be completed a lot sooner than their initial timeline.
Yeah, it said the contractor had a few delays obtaining materials, but it's scheduled to start very soon, so I didn't know how soon.
I don't have an exact date
Yeah.
on that, sir, sorry.
Okay, and then on that I-35 water main crossings, has the developer provided payment to the city on that?
No, sir.
Said the developer has accepted this bid, and the contractor awarded the 10-inch additive alternate option, but no work will begin until the developer has provided payment to the city.
No, sir, no payments as of today.
Okay, and on the Hungry Hill, we just received something from that on Hungry Hill about that, and that's where they estimated about 210,000
That's correct, yes, sir,
Well,
for construction.
for construction. Okay. All right, that's all I had on the engineer's
All right.
report.
Okay,
And on the water, I got some,
okay, go ahead, sir.
okay.
That'll be addressed to you, Johnny.
Okay, on the water, just some facts here. That, it showed that we pumped 2,279,000 gallons more than last month. We flushed 4,414,950 less than last month. We used 1,269,000 gallons more than last month. And our water loss was 5,424,950 gallons more than last month, and had 15 less fixed leaks from last month. Our loss percentage was 19.14% more than last month. And we sold about 51% of the water we pumped. So that was just some facts I wanted to point out. That's all.
All right, okay, so we're going right along, Mr., oh yeah, we forgot about you, and you got to speak yet, we're waiting on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, for my monthly city administrators report, just going to hit on some highlights here so the community is aware of some of our projects, where their current statuses are. So first and foremost, if you were driving in from Moody today, you probably noticed that the construction work, the reseal of FM 107 from about Mackey Ranch Road all the way to the dollar store in Moody has commenced. They've reduced that down to one lane, so there are going to be some regular lane closures on that one. But this project is only going to last a couple weeks. They're going to be moving at a pretty good clip. They'll be outside of Eddy within a matter of days, so I've been told. So it should not be a major inconvenience. What they're doing, they're just resealing, making sure that the longevity of this road continues to last. So I just wanted to give props, and I'm sure he will hate me for doing this, but Johnny Grady, our Public Works Supervisor, I got to give him a kudos. He has been approved to take his Class A water license exam. So he hasn't passed yet, but getting to this point is a significant milestone all in itself. There's a lot of experience, a lot of coursework, and a lot of knowledge that has to be demonstrated to get here. So everybody wish Johnny a good luck on his exam process. So, I'm very cool.
So are we
You just
doing
got the notes
speech or
this
no
morning.
speech on this?
No speech? No speech from
No
Johnny.
speech, no.
I'll speak for him.
I think he passes. Those cheeks are red, so I think he passes.
Okay, just a heads up, the filing for the November election here for the position of mayor and 2 city council members is currently underway. The last day to file for that is August the 18th. Please see Pam Combs if you're interested in being a
We got 3
applicant.
seats in council and the mayor's seat, so come
2
on,
seats
let's
on
go.
council,
Oh,
2
2
seats.
seats on the city council.
And these are all 2-year
Mayor.
terms.
Yeah, please, come on. Take it from me, I don't care.
So, on another matter, I did provide some information on the Hungry Hill overhaul project. I won't go into a lot of detail on that one. I think we've hit that nail on the head. But you should have your information in your packet. You certainly review that and consider that before our budget discussions. You will have noticed that the McLennan County resales were completed for Mackey Ranch Road last week. That was last week? 2 weeks ago? Oh my goodness. Again, just trying to provide longevity. Mackey Ranch Road is one of the better roads here in Bruceville-Eddy, and so I know we got a lot of questions. Why are you focusing on this road? Well, it's because the county was already working their way down Mackey Ranch, and so they offered to provide this service, which they weren't doing for a lot of the other roads. So, council took them up on that offer, and they have resealed that. So hopefully that doesn't become a burden like some of our other streets are right now. I will just mention Crescent Meadows Lane was in too poor of condition for a reseal to be effective. So this street was overhauled in 2023. We didn't get to the reseal in 2024, didn't have the funding for that. And this year it's already too far gone. The base just wasn't holding up on that one.
While you're there, if I may, are we gonna be able to reseal another street and replace that?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, and of course, we didn't have all of our information when council elected to do this, but last year, Pine Street, Gurley Street, and, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on the last one.
Yep.
It was not Aspen last year. There was 3 roads that were completely overhauled, and so. Yeah, got Gurley, got Pine, there's one more, I'm forgetting it. Anyways, regardless, those streets have been torn up by the sewer, and so, of course, we didn't know exactly whether the sewer project would be moving forward, we didn't know exactly which roads were gonna be included on that, because we had to reduce the scope, so council was investing in those roads regardless, and they had been torn up, so we weren't able to reseal those. We're not able to reseal those. On the sewer systems construction, I did just do an interview with KXXV earlier in the day. We're estimating we're about 80% complete. The project has slowed a bit to a crawl. As many of you are aware, we have had some significant differences of opinion with our main contractor. And I say that as no pun intended. They're our biggest contractor, but also they're working on the sewer mains. So we're working through some mediation with them, but regardless, they're about 80% complete. We're 10 months into this project. It was estimated that this project would take anywhere from a year to 2 years. So I know it's been a pain. We just ask for your continued patience. I think we're on the downside of the hill. Still got several months left to go, though. On the Falls County water well, I did meet with our Messer-Fort attorneys on July the 12th. We've come up with a game plan to proceed with the purchase of this land, and they're currently working on a draft agreement for purchase that'll be coming before council here soon. I've already addressed that one, so I'll move right along. Already hit that one. So for the Eagle Prairie development, we are working to set up a kickoff meeting to discuss the traffic impact analysis that council ordered, to discuss the plat submission process. We're looking to do that around the 1st of next month. And then many of you probably realize that the Ascent Travel Center opening date has come and gone. Unfortunately, they hit a snag in their design for the dedicated turn lane with TxDOT. They're having to rework some electrical lines over there before they can get the dedicated turn lane in, before they can open. Of course, they were not expecting this. Nobody was. So we're looking at another couple months before this gas station, this travel center can be opened. So, and that's all I've got. Answer any questions that you might have.
All right. Okay. The next one is our consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered by the city council and will be enacted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a member of the public so request. A, approval of the minutes. B, financial for June of 2025. C, establishing the 2026 city holiday schedule. D, approval invoice Core and Main LP, and that's it. Does anybody want anything pulled or anything like that? Okay, if not, all right, Mr. Wiggins.
No.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve all the consent agenda items.
Okay.
I'll
all right.
second.
Okay, Joyce seconded it. Thank you, sir. Ma'am. All right. Number 9. Exit.
We need to vote.
Which one? Oh, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you. I'm tired, I'm sorry. Somebody put me out of my misery. Okay, here we go. Now, number 9, exit interview process. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the creation of an exit interview process for departing employees, someone that's leaving us. Okay?
Mayor, council, we're just looking for a little bit of direction. This has not been a policy we've had in place. It hasn't been a historical practice for our city to conduct exit interviews. So we did have a council member request that this item be added to the agenda to discuss the merits, the cons, what that process looks like. So, of course, exit interviews, pretty straightforward, just looking to gather some information from departing employees to solicit feedback, to use that feedback to better your organization, better your department. Got a few merits and cons up there for you to consider, but otherwise, I'll just leave it up to y'all for discussion.
Okay, anybody have anything they want to talk about it?
I'll start it off, man.
Okay, Mr. Richardson?
Just, I kind of want this added to the agenda, just so far as our departing employees, just do an exit interview with them is pretty common in a lot of places, and just, that way we get an idea, like, if they're all, like, we can sit up here and think, oh, well, we think this guy left for this, or we think this person left for this, but we really don't know until we actually talk to the people and know what's going on. Like, if they're all leaving due to pay, well, we need to look at possibly bumping our pay up some. If they're leaving due to like better opportunities, and we look at that, just kind of, I'm kind of always of the opinion that like more information is always a good thing. It's kind of why I brought this up.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Well, I agree. I think it's a great idea. And with that said, I'll make a motion that we'll approve the exit interview process.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, Joyce seconds it.
And just a little bit of discussion and clarification
Okay.
here for myself, for department heads. Is there any specific process you would like us to go with? Would a council member like to be involved? Do you want that just to be the mayor? Do you
Mr.
want the city
Richardson?
administrator, department heads involved with that?
My 2 cents on this, just my opinion, is probably not the department heads, because say you have an employee that is, I'm not saying we have this, but
Yeah.
you don't know what's happening 5 years down the road. You may have somebody being harassed at their workplace or a toxic environment. They're not gonna sit there and be like, hey, the reason I'm leaving is my boss right there is a jerk. You're not gonna get that.
Right.
So I would say at least remove the department heads from that, so far as whether we want a council member in, or we want to just kind of have them fill out this form and then share it like in executive session or something. I mean, I'm completely gonna leave that up to y'all.
Okay, all right. Mr., yes?
I think, I made it almost all the way through the night. Anyway, I think that as a common practice, it would be the hiring authority, which would be the mayor, and the city manager would probably be your best people, because they're the ones that are going to develop the employee relations. This is to determine why an employee is leaving, what are they leaving for, and it's up to the mayor and city administrator to bring that to us and say, I've got a series of people leaving because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, so I'm going to recommend that with this, that we set the policy that the mayor and the city manager take and do the exit interview.
I would like to kind of just add on one exception to that.
Okay,
If it is somebody that directly reports to Kent, for example, just have the mayor do it.
okay,
That's all, my only say.
okay. I agree, okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, and I have a motion on that, or what do we do, or?
You've already got a motion and a
And a
second
second.
to
Oh, we now
approve the
take a vote.
process. You've given staff plenty of feedback. I think that's enough to run with. We've got an
All in
example,
favor?
so.
Unanimous, okay, thank you. All right, okay, 10, executive session. The city council shall meet in executive session to discuss the following: Miracle Lane, McLennan CAD property, 105264, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, and Miracle Lane, McLennan CAD property 105264, Texas Government Code Section 551.072, and BRCT LLC DBA Black Rock Construction, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, and Patrol Officer Law Enforcement Academy Sportsmanship Sponsorship, Texas Government Code Section 551.074. Okay, it is now 7:50, and we're gonna go into executive session, and we will be back here shortly. Okay. It is 8:31 and the executive session's over, and it is 8:31 and our regular city council meeting is re-adjourned here. And, there has been no, action taken on stuff that was discussed in our executive session. So, now, we're going to number 11. Mr. Prater.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is 8:31 and it's over.